Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Roslyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spots that activate your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize. Hello, welcome my loves. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you see and receive value in this episode, which I know you will, please do shout it out on social media. On Instagram, it's Bold Sexy Warrior, and on Facebook, it's Roslyn Fung Coaching, Bold Sexy Warrior. Your reviews on Apple iTunes are also so greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. So, this is my last episode to be recorded in my hometown. I am in the process of moving from Edmonton to Kelowna. So this is my final week here. The next episode you'll hear will be right as I am overlooking this beautiful mountain view and the lake. So I'm very excited. And for the month of August, as many of you may have to know, since if you've been listening, I've been celebrating all month. I turned 40 this month, and it was also mine and my sexy silver fox husband's 15th wedding anniversary. And to celebrate, we have a very special offer for you. It's our Elevate Your Wealth with Ease bundle. We want to celebrate by sharing our gifts with you with a special discount on our Manifest More Money digital course. And I've packaged it up with my sacred money meditations. In this course, you'll have a better understanding of what gets in your way of manifesting more money, a clear path to have a sacred relationship with money so that you can confidently call in more money, and how to communicate about money peacefully and intimately with yourself and those of you who are in a committed relationship with your partner. That's all about as well the power of knowing your sacred money archetypes and the ability to discover what yours is. We're also going to go over the 6 pillars where you'll discover how to build wealth and the practical tips that you can apply right away. And like I said, I'm bundling this up with my Sacred Sales meditation album which is infused with light language. It's going to really help you embody the frequency of sacred sales and wealth and calling in and receiving money. So the value of this bundle is regularly $88, but because I turned 40 this month, it's only for $40. You can grab that in the show notes or the link in my bio on Instagram, or private message me or send me an email, roslyn@roslynfung.com, and my team will get it to you. All right, my loves, welcome as well to today's episode. It's called Build Yourself Back Up, the 3 stages of personal transformation. And I have my very special guest and soul sister, Trish Bennet. Now, let me ask you this. Are you feeling like you have lost yourself? Are you feeling like you haven't been true to who you are and you're just pretending to put on a happy face for everyone else? How do you actually show up and be yourself? So Trish and I are really going to jam about this today. She is a professional speaker and author. She shares her personal journey of challenges, heartbreak, and loss of self so that she can support and encourage others who have experienced their own pain and are ready to build themselves back up. Trish has spent most of her life wearing an invisible mask that hid the true pain that was buried inside her mind, body, and soul. After her spiritual awakening and the unraveling of her life, she spent many years healing the pains of her past. Her heartbreaking life lessons led her to forgive herself and others. Step by step, she was able to build herself and her life back up and create a life that is filled with success, love, and opportunities. Through her work and passion for positive change, Trish teaches others that at any point in time, you can make changes and become the person you envision every single day. Oh my gosh, my loves, you are in for a real treat. She is so inspiring. I know Trish personally. We met through a mutual friend who is a coach as well. And I've seen Trish speak for the first time ever in her life. And I was blown away because I was like, how is this your first time? You're so engaging, so mesmerizing. And honestly, it just even, I think she's better than me as a speaker. So anyway, Trish, welcome, my love.
Thank you so much, Roz. Thank you so much.
So happy to have you here. I'm so excited for you to share your story with our audience here. And that's where we're going to dive right into is if you can share with others your story, your journey of how you got to be who you are today. I know it's so inspiring.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to share this story. So my story begins when I'm in junior high. I started noticing that life wasn't as fulfilling as it was when I was a child. I started noticing that I wasn't feeling as good as I used to when I'd wake up in the morning. And as these days started to progress, I started having thoughts that were uncomfortable. I would often tell myself that I wanted to go home, even though I'd be sitting in my bedroom. I didn't understand exactly what that meant. But when I finally approached my mom at the age of 13 and I told her that I was seriously sad on the inside and I no longer wanted to be present in the physical world, I knew that I was dealing with depression. I wasn't actually diagnosed at the time because unfortunately I didn't have the opportunity to heal that feeling that was occurring inside of me. And what happened from that point on for the next 25 years was that I continued to add on my depression through thoughts that I was thinking and through experiences that were happening around me. I got to a point in my mid-30s, or more like my early 30s, that I realized that I needed to conquer my depression, that I was suffering so severely that if I didn't make any changes, I wasn't going to survive. So the changes that I started to make were quite small. They weren't doing much. And anytime that I tried to express myself that I was trying to be a better person or was trying to think better thoughts, the people around me didn't support it. They actually would make me feel a lot worse. So I had to make some immediate changes in regards to the people that I surrounded myself with. And the first one was that I closed off the relationship with my dad. Wow. And the second one was that I had to step out of my marriage and start over. And I literally started over. I was living in a beautiful home. I didn't have to work because my husband did. I got to stay at home with my kids. I got to enjoy their childhood and all the fun things that come with it. And I completely switched it over to the point that I let go of the house. I let go of the money. And I moved my kids and I into a 2-bedroom apartment. We shared 1 bedroom, and I had next to nothing. So it was pretty much clearing the slate and having to start fresh from the beginning. And what I did was I noticed that the material items that were in my life were actually not making me happy. And the people in my life, they weren't supporting me and they weren't making me happy. So I started to clear away all of these items and all of these people. And then I had to start working with myself. I had to figure out, who am I? What do I value? How do I want to show up? And that was the progression from the point of building myself back up, from the point of having nothing, being in the depths of depression, and creating a plan and creating a path that got me to the point where I am today. And when I decided that I was going to start over, I realized that there were so many areas in my life that needed work. And it almost felt hopeless. It felt so hopeless that I got to the point that nothing within me felt real. I had no feeling for anything. And the sad part was I had no feeling for my kids. I had no feeling for friends that actually cared for me. And at the beginning of 2018, I thought that life was over. I thought that I could not do anything to get my life back on track, to get myself and my kids in our own place and start a life of our own. So I decided that I was going to exit this world. And I tried 3 times. And after the 3rd attempt of suicide, I realized the universe doesn't want me to leave. I'm meant to stay. I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to do something. And as I sat in the moment, realizing that there's no way I'm going to leave, I started putting together a plan in my head on what I was going to do to go forward. And that was my turning point. That was my starting point. And from there, I built myself back up to the point that I have my own home. I have love for my kids that I've never felt before. I have friends that are supportive, they're like-minded, and they absolutely care for me. And the abundance that I'm creating just keeps expanding from there. After all of that, I started Build Yourself Back Up. I realized that my story had meaning. I realized my story could help people. And from there, I started putting out my voice, being seen, being heard. And I started noticing that when I changed, the people around me changed. And they started asking me questions, well, how did you do that? And what are you doing? And so I started putting my words on paper, and I put articles out online. I started putting myself out in front of audiences and speaking my truth and telling my story. And now I feel absolutely fulfilled. Even though it's scary to step into those new roles and conquer those fears, I feel liberated after. I feel like I actually contribute to something, and it feels peaceful on the inside. It feels balanced in my life. And I have never felt the happiness that I have within me ever in my entire life. And I will be 39 in the next 2 months. So that's a long time.
That is incredible. Like, what a powerful journey. And Trish, I actually want to really just, first of all, acknowledge the bravery and the courage and the strength to keep going when you actually gave up. You really gave up, and it's like there's something greater that you're meant to. I mean, you survived your suicide attempts, and it's like, no, you're not meant to go yet. And it's so powerful. Now, I know that there may be some people listening in right now, and they're feeling stuck in their, I'm going to say marriage, because that's what really stands out to me. It's just like how unhappy they are in their marriage. And yet they don't quite feel like they have the courage to leave. And I'm really curious, would it be okay for us to zoom in on this part? Because I find that a lot of people get stuck here. They're so scared to leave their relationship or marriage, whatever that looks like, and start a new chapter in their life, because there is a lot in their mind, like at stake. And it's like, you don't know what you don't know, like moving forward. So I'm really curious, what if we could give the audience some support here? And I know that we'll probably continue this after commercial, but what really supported you? What mindset did you have to take to move yourself forward?
You know what it was reflecting on my mom. My mom left my dad when I was 3. She didn't have any income. She moved us in with my grandparents, and I watched the progression of her starting over and getting us our own place and moving that forward. That was my goal. Was I saw that personally, so I knew that it could happen. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had no money coming in, but it was the belief that somebody else did it and I can do it too.
Wow. And it was, I don't think I knew that about you. So like, that is so powerful that you had your mom as your role model, be like, okay, I saw my mom do this. That's a strong experience for you firsthand to witness and be part of that experience. And if she can do it, hey, this is possible for me too.
Yeah. And it's switching the mindset too, because I had such a negative mindset that told me that I needed a man to support me. Society tells me that it needs to be 2 people in a household, but it was changing it and saying, no, I can do this on my own, and figuring out how to do it on my own.
Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, we're going to move into commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the 3 stages of moving into personal transformation.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
My loves, you know you're here as a soul-led leader to transform this world through the sharing of your passions and gifts. You are here to be in your warrior of light and align your business with your highest self. I'm Roslyn Fung of the show Activate Your Soulgasmic Business. Let's elevate your business to the next expansive level. I invite you to flow into a business soul alignment discovery call with me at roslynfung.com. That's ROSALYN, fun as in have some fun, FUNG, and let's see how I can best hold space for you to align your highest self magnetize your dream clients, and monetize on your soul mission. I can't wait to connect.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
All right, welcome back, loves. So Trish, please share with us, what are the 3 stages that you support people in personal transformation as they're building themselves back up?
So the 3 stages that I personally went through, I'd like to go deep into them, but the first one is self-review. The second one is the work. And the third stage is the bounce back and balance. So self-review for me was pretty much, I had to sit down and ask myself, what are the areas of my life that I need to change? Where am I failing in my life? What limiting beliefs do I have? And so when I started identifying the stuff that I needed to change, I started seeing all the stuff that I actually was living with. So I had limiting beliefs that I'm stupid, I'm not allowed to be seen or heard, I'm not equal to others. And so as I wrote these items out on paper, I journal all the time, and I absolutely recommend it. I was able to see the areas that needed the changes. So it was limiting beliefs. It was the way I was responding to people. It was my relationships. It was my physical body. So when I did my self-review, I was able to identify what needed to change. And then from the self-review came the work. And what I noticed with the work is that it was broken down into 3 areas. I had to do mental work, I had to do the physical work, and I had to do the spiritual work. So when it came to the mental work, it was all the thoughts, right? So the ruminating over stuff, the mental thoughts about limiting beliefs. When I became fully aware that it was thoughts that were constantly coming in that needed to change, what I did was I would catch myself. I got fully aware of the thoughts that I was thinking, and in mid-thought, I would stop and I would rephrase what I was thinking. So if a thought was coming in that was telling me, well, Trish, you're not smart enough to do that, I would stop the thought. I would be with it. I would recognize it, but then I would replace it. I would rephrase it to, I am becoming smart enough to accomplish this goal. I am smart enough to speak about this. I am this and I am that. So as soon as I heard the thought that was causing me my depression or my sadness or my anger, it was an immediate stop. So the mental had to be consistent. I noticed that, us humans, we think over 6,000 thoughts a day. So imagine how many of those thoughts are coming up that are uncomfortable, that are challenging. So it was getting really aware that they were coming in and stopping them in their tracks and rephrasing them with something better. And it did sound like a broken record. It was constantly coming in and it was constantly needing to be changed. But eventually I started noticing that when I thought something like, I'm a good mom, the thought that would come after, which wasn't produced by me, it was produced by my ego mind, would say, yeah, you are. But before it would say, no, not really, but we were crying, or no, not really, and remember this, remember when you showed up poorly here? So eventually, the thoughts that were coming in were actually supportive, and they were promising, and they were showing me that I was actually making changes. And then the physical side. So when we do the work, we have to actually step out of our comfort zone and get out there and do something about what we need to change. So for example, when I started realizing that confidence was something that was missing in my life, I could tell myself all day, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. But if I didn't show up physically confident, I wasn't being it. I didn't know how to be confident, so I actually Googled how to be confident. And then I took all of the tips and tools that were showing up in articles, and whatever resonated with me, I started applying it. And one of the suggestions was to have a power pose with your posture. So either one or two hands on the hips, standing up, shoulders back, something that I never did because I always made myself small. I always would hunch over, put my head down and make myself small. So it was about physically changing the way I was showing up, right?
The Wonder Woman pose.
Right. So then when I started doing that, and I would mindfully remind myself, hey, I feel like we're slouching. Let's get that power pose, or let's get that proper posture back. It eventually just became who I was. I didn't have to think about it. And another thing about being confident was to look somebody in the eyes when you speak to them. And I could not do this. I feared it because I felt like people were going to see my true self if I stared at them. So my eyes would wander constantly, showing that I was not, self-secure or have confidence. So I started telling myself, okay, just look them in the eyes, but don't, stare hard at them, but
don't be awkward about it.
Exactly. So I started teaching myself, mindfully telling myself, we have to physically show up by looking at the person we're talking to. I changed my wardrobe and got clothes that actually felt good on my body and I felt comfortable in. And then when I realized that my confidence was starting to get better, I started recognizing that when I had courage to conquer my fears, I created confidence. So then I went out and started finding things that were fulfilling my desires through fear. And then I got confidence. And one was, my motorbike that I went and bought, and I got my license. I was so
that was just recent. Yes. Right? I want to really highlight this. Like, confidence comes from taking courageous action. That's the only way we can get confidence, because confidence is really about your belief in yourself to do something and eventually do it well. Nobody starts out doing something so good and so amazingly. We all start from a place of, shit, I made a mistake. Shoot, I made another mistake. And then we learn from those mistakes. So I really wanted to highlight that, Trish.
Yes. And what's funny about my story about the motorbike, when I first started riding it last year to get my practice, I tipped it over a few times in the parking lot when I was practicing. And then one time when I was out on the street, I stalled out at a stop sign and I tipped it over. And
oh my gosh,
somebody behind me got out of his car and he came up and he helped me lift up my bike, because the friend that I was riding with that was taking me out, she had kind of ridden off already because I was following her. And, I felt like a failure, in these moments, but it was me getting back on my bike and telling myself, it's the practice. You got to put in the practice to get better at something. And then that built my confidence. And now I'm riding whenever I want because I don't need to partner with someone. So it was that building up and finding things that I wanted to do. And even though it was scary, and building that up. So there is the physical side to the work that we need to do to make the changes that we want in our life.
I love that example. I mean, it's a very recent example because it was only recently that you got your motorbike. And I remember you posting on social media how big of a deal, and it's a big deal, like you were celebrating, look what I just did. And that's incredible, just to even hear about the experience of you building your confidence to ride your motorbike and the tipping your bike over, because you don't see that often, or at least I don't. And it's so nice to be like, okay, like, yeah, that's part of the process, and so let it be. And you literally pick your bike back up and keep riding, right? It's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah. And, you know, the fear of doing it again was there, and I did, but it was, you know, like you said, pick it up, keep going, and you conquer that goal by not stopping and persevering through it.
Mm-hmm. You know,
So
the other thing you were, sorry, I want to just highlight something you said, because I feel like this is important for the audience to hear, is when you are shifting your beliefs, and it's inviting you to step into that next level version of yourself. And so you started to tell yourself, I can do this, or whatever the affirmation was. And then you showed up in alignment of that belief, even though inside you were freaking out. And I want to say that's normal, and for us to move into that process. It's not that we're, you know, even speaking on stage, it's not that we're not freaking out sometimes. We're like, I'm still nervous, and I'm a seasoned speaker. I'm still nervous when I still get on stage. You know, I have all these tools to calm my nervous system and all that, but there's still that little like jump in your heart for the first few seconds, and then you just kind of get into your flow. But it's just like, you know what? Showing up, feel the fear and do it anyways. Show up, show up, show up. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people just stay stuck in the fear and never get to have the experience of just doing it anyway, and then realizing, okay, even if they made a mistake, not the end of the world. I can learn from that, I can improve, and I can step forward and keep going. And then eventually it becomes so easy. But we need to start somewhere.
Yeah. And what I noticed for me was when the fear would come in and I was questioning whether or not I was going to go forward, as soon as I took the step and focused on what it was that I was going to do, the fear started to subside. The fear was the strongest before I took the action. And once the action was starting to happen and I was moving through it, the fear went away, or at least it diminished. Yes. It's only right at the beginning that you feel it, or for me, that's how it was. And then once I get into something, right? Once you're in it, you're like, oh, this feels okay. Yeah, I'm still a little wobbly or whatnot. But it's only the beginning before you actually take the action that, for me, I felt the most fear.
Yes, and I want to say it's because we're staying in, when we stay in the moment, it isn't so bad. When we're in the moment of moving past that fear and then we're doing it, it's like you're so present in the moment, it's no longer a big deal. I have a funny story actually that's related to this concept. So for me, in the past, I would be really shy to talk to men I found attractive. And so I would like revert back to high school Roz, like, oh, I can't talk to that boy. And so I can say hi to anybody, no problem. But if I found a male attractive, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, he's going to think I like him. Even if that wasn't the case, but like, you know, high school Roz is like, no, I can't talk to boys. And so I remember one day I was like, you know what? I am going to, because they don't know what we're thinking. Like nobody knows what's going on in our mind. It's all our mind drama that we have. So it's just like, wait a minute, I can play the role of what would that next level version of me be as I show up in confidence to speak to anybody, including people that I find attractive. And so as I felt the fear and did it anyway, this was like a few years back, and I was like, I'm just gonna make friends with the man I find most attractive at the gym. And, and I did that. I would just like, okay, I would just say hi to everybody. I would just practice. And then I actually manifested that result. And I ended up being friends with this guy at the gym. And it was totally all appropriate boundaries, of course. But totally amazing how I proved to myself that we get in our own way and we can change the course of our story. And so I just find that like a really entertaining story to tell people. But it is all about how we decide to choose our thoughts, feel the fear, and do it anyway.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you shared that story, because I'm in the same boat, and I'm much better now about it because I feel better about who I am. But good-looking men, I would turn and run from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, I hope that story helps others as they're listening and or had a good chuckle about and be like, okay, well, where can you apply that in your life? Like maybe it's in business and you're freaking out a little bit about raising your rates or putting out a program or leveling up in offering your next level program and a higher ticketed price. So notice who you need to become. What is he or she thinking that you're not thinking right now, or doing that you're not doing right now? Because that's where the gaps are. Or what would they not be thinking anymore because they've released that next level version of you? So things to really start moving towards to embody that next level version of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I also noticed that when I was doing the work that I had to add a spiritual side as well. And when I looked at the chakras, I noticed that when I would read about them, that they all had a physical level to them. And that's actually how I moved through a lot of my work. Was I would pick one chakra. And so let's say it was the solar plex, where it was my willpower to, get up and do something or to challenge myself. I would look at my chakra and see how I was out of balance with it and how I could clear it. And it was those steps that we just talked about that got me to build it up, to make it whole again. And all of the chakras will actually lead you towards that physical, mental, and spiritual change doing the work. So that's something that I think that if somebody is looking at spiritual side of changes, to look at those 7 main chakras and see what they can do to clear away their blocks and show up differently.
You know what? Let's continue this conversation about the chakras and personal transformation when we come back from commercial.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. Om Times, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
All right, welcome back, loves. So just before commercial, we were shifting into the conversation of how chakras are so much of personal transformation. So is there a specific, I know there's like, we could probably jam a whole episode and more about this, Trish.
Yeah.
But what are you feeling called to share when it comes to the chakras, if you want to focus on one or two of them that you're feeling tuned into for the audience to really, really drop into deeper?
I think that one of my biggest challenges with change was kind of focused around the root chakra, which was money, or feeling like I had security in life and that everything was going to be okay. When I realized that that was where my issue was, the belief that I had was that a man needed to be in my life in order for me to be secure, that the men made the money and the women made the home. So when I started changing my belief that women can be independent and do it for themselves, I then had to take the action to make it happen. And so as I mentioned earlier, I was a stay-at-home mom when I left my husband. So I had to go out and find work that was in alignment with me, that paid me enough money to support 2 kids and myself. But I had to get past the belief that I was not worthy or worthy of it. I was thinking that I couldn't make it happen. I didn't think that I was smart enough or good enough or had enough education to have a job that would provide. So as I worked through the work towards the root chakra, I was able to let go of those beliefs, show up differently by putting myself out there for positions that my ego told me I wasn't qualified for, but the new belief was that I was. And then eventually I got to the point that I got that job, and then I got the house, and I got all the things that I needed to take care of my kids and I. So that's where a lot of work happened, was within that root chakra.
I love that you brought up the root chakra, because that really is about feeling safe, feeling grounded, feeling rooted in our decisions and our environments and just who we are, feeling safe to be in this world. And it really needs to start with that, moving into safety and self-belief. And I just love how you brought that up. And really, if you think about it, and as we stretch outside of our comfort zone, our sense of safety is going to be rattled up. And so when we have a strong foundation of feeling safe, feeling I belong here, and I can do this, I can do anything, then it allows us to move through our fears as we take courageous action.
Absolutely. And the third stage
is there
that
go ahead.
Go
ahead, love.
Of personal transformation is the bounce back and balance. And what I mean about this is that I'm going to be upfront and frank with the audiences. It's not going to be easy all the time to make personal changes. You're going
most of the time.
Yeah.
Let's just face that.
Right? And so finding ways to get yourself back up and trying again, having that positive self-talk that's going to be like that broken record over and over and over, and also looking for evidence that things are getting better, that things are changing and you're going in the direction you want to, will help you move through a challenging moment, will help you move through a moment that you just want to give up and not continue going forward. It's important to teach yourself how to bounce back from those moments that you want to give up. And then with
I
the
love
balance,
that you shared, if I may just chip in here, because I really want the audience to really hear this. Our mind, our brain, looks for evidence to prove we are right. So if you are in limiting belief, your brain will scan for evidence that supports this limiting belief. So your brain also will search for evidence, and this is going to be the harder work, for the new belief. And that's where, when Trish, you shared we're going to need to do that. Like, I really want to highlight we need to be even more hyper focused to look for the evidence to prove that you are already, there's parts of your life where you already are living your new belief. We just have to be more tuned into it.
Absolutely. I remember a moment where I was struggling still to get out of bed. And I told myself that I had to get up and try. You have to keep getting up and trying. And so I did. And then I started making new habits that, well, when I get out of bed, the first thing I'm going to do is drink water. And then I'm going to make my bed, and then I'm going to open up my window. And eventually, when I get out of bed now, that's the new habit. I'm not thinking about it. It's actually something that I just do. But I had to make that happen, and I had to bounce back from moments where I didn't want to do it. So it's awesome to see the progression, because eventually what you're changing, you become, and you don't have to consciously think about it.
Mm-hmm. That is the thing. It becomes your new normal. It's your new foundation. It's your new energetic frequency when you start to bring these little moments of success, whatever success means to you in your new affirmative self. And then those moments become longer and longer, and then they become, they bridge together, and it's just your normal. It's the way you live, and it's just like you're automatic at that point. But it does take consistent perseverance and navigation through your limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So Trish, can you share, how can people get connected with you? What are you excited about most right now in your business?
Well, they can connect with me through social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I have a website, and you can connect with me through there. I'm most excited to present my new talk next month at the U of A. It's with Blue Talks. I'm excited to get on stage and speak about something new that I've been working on. And, that's something that I'm going to go forward with, that the audience can follow me and see all the new talks I'm going to line up for myself.
I love it. I love it. And so what are your social media handles? We'll have them in the show notes, but just in case somebody's like, I just want to go and check Trish out right now.
Do you mean like to...
You spell it out. Yeah. What is your social media handle for Instagram?
Let me just pull that up here.
Oh, I think it's Build Yourself Back Up.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I thought you meant like the actual
link.
The link.
No, just people can look for it. Yeah.
Yes.
You're so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build Yourself Back Up. You can find Trish there. And it's Trish Bennet, BETNNET. Trish Bennet. Yeah. Yes. And so Blue Talks, which if you've been tuning into my podcast, you totally know all about Blue Talks. You know how much I love my mentor and the founder of Blue Talks, which is short for Business, Life, and Universe. This is an incredible platform. Think of TEDx with a foundation of spirituality. We have co-authored a series where each of the 4 books, which Trish is in the 4th book, I'm in the 1st, I'll be coming out in a future one as well. They have all gone to bestsellers, and it's these stories are potently activating. It's incredible. In fact, my guest last week, Kelly Filardo, she's very much part of the collaborations of Blue Talk. She is a strategist to help authors get their books into bestsellers. So I have no doubts, if you are feeling called to join this community, be a co-author or even a speaker, there's lots of opportunities. Reach out to me and I'll connect you with Corey. He's incredible. So excited. So excited for lots of opportunities for those are feeling called to step into their next level version of themselves. And so Trish is also open for bookings, speaking bookings, and engagements. So do reach out to her tune into her work and she has some really great lives on her social media. Definitely dive in if you're feeling called. All right, so what we're going to do right now is to just shift gears a bit, and we're going to go into meditation as we are dropping into this conversation about building yourself back up. I am going to lead us into a short guided meditation to support you in where you are right now and envisioning this next level version of yourself. So find a comfortable spot. You can lie down or cross your legs in lotus pose. And then just start to take your attention inward. You can have a soft gaze or close your eyes. Taking a breath in and then just cleansing. Taking another big deep breath in, breathing into areas of your body that need more space. Might be your side body, your heart space in the front and the back, your neck, your mind. And then just sighing out. Dropping more and more of your mass, more of your identity. Coming to a clean slate. You get to co-create with Spirit your journey, what this next level, this next chapter looks like for you. So just seeing this blank canvas. And just really reflecting on what parts of this conversation really resonate with you. What's the one piece that really resonated with you the most right now in this last hour? And just tune into this. And so my sense is you're also feeling challenged with something, whether it's in the relationship, with your emotional health, maybe in your business, taking yourself to that next level. Whatever your challenge is, just kind of bring that up and look at it from this place of just observing, noticing the emotions that come up, any fear, any self-doubt, without judgment, but just watching and witnessing and staying curious. This is your ego mind. And the beautiful thing is we can just watch without giving it power. So holding space for this part of you, and then also tuning into your future self, that next level version of you. How is he or she showing up? What's life look and feel like? How are you approaching and being in your challenge that you're feeling right now? How is it that you are wanting to feel about it instead? Whatever it may be, my sense is it's with ease, with flow, with confidence. So let yourself feel that right now. Just breathing into your root chakra, which is at the base between your sex organ and your anus, that perineum. breathing in there with this image of a lotus flower that's red. And just breathing out anything that doesn't serve or support. Breathing in courage. Breathing out fear. Breathing in courage. Breathing out fear. Breathing in possibilities. Breathing out fear. And just keep breathing in this practice, breathing in confidence. Breathing out fear. You can do anything that you choose. You can choose your thoughts. You can choose your next level. You can create. Morakora tia nenekia, morakua, morakira kora tia nana kora tia. Breathing in and out. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Trish, for being here, love. I really appreciated your share.
Thank you, Rod.